When the news first dropped that Jake Paul was in talks to fight Gervonta "Tank" Davis, the internet basically exploded. One side screamed, "This is a joke," while the other said, "Jake's finally taking on a real fighter." But when the rumors got louder that Floyd Mayweather himself had joined Davis's training camp, everything changed. Suddenly, this wasn't just another celebrity boxing stunt. This became a potential disaster for Jake Paul. Because when Floyd walks into a gym, he doesn't come to watch, he comes to teach. Jake Paul has made a career out of proving people wrong. Every time someone laughs, he steps back into the ring and lands another headline. From knocking out NBA players to taking on MMA legends like Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva, Jake built his reputation on shock value and spectacle. But this time, the spectacle might have gone too far. Facing Gervonta Davis, one of boxing's most dangerous knockout artists, is a completely different world. And the moment Mayweather entered Tank's camp, Jake's confident smile started to fade. Insiders claim Jake tried to stay positive, talking about mental health, focus, and positive energy. But when he mentioned he's never been knocked down in sparring, even fans noticed the nervous energy in his tone. It was as if he was trying to convince himself. Meanwhile, Davis was all business. No jokes, no trolling, no theatrics, just brutal, calculated focus. Floyd Mayweather's involvement took the hype to another level. Fans instantly remembered the old teacher-student dynamic between Mayweather and Tank. Floyd knows exactly how to exploit an opponent's rhythm, timing, and mistakes, the very things Jake Paul relies on to create viral knockouts. With Mayweather fine-tuning Davis's defense and counters, this fight shifted from interesting to potentially terrifying for Jake. And that's where things start to get controversial. Because beyond the memes and headlines, the physical difference between these two fighters is staggering. Gervonta Davis usually fights at 135 pounds. Jake Paul walks around close to 200. That's a difference of more than 60 pounds, basically the same as putting a featherweight against a cruiserweight. Athletic commissions called it dangerous. Some even refused to sanction it. That's why the matchup was rebranded as an exhibition, meaning no official records, no ranking implications, just entertainment. But here's the catch. When you put two men with pride and cameras between them, nobody wants to just entertain. Especially not someone like Tank Davis. He's built his legacy knocking people out, not playing safe. And Jake Paul? He's built his fame on being fearless, even reckless. So when fans heard exhibition, nobody believed it. People expected blood. Still, behind the scenes, promoters were scrambling. The Georgia Athletic Commission reportedly refused to green-light the fight because of the weight gap. Then Jake's team withdrew their request for permits, only to find another venue willing to host what was clearly more spectacle than sport. Tickets went live, Netflix picked it up, and suddenly this controversial matchup became one of the most talked about events of the year, even though experts doubted it would ever happen. And yet, people couldn't look away. To understand why, you have to look at how both fighters got here. Jake Paul, the internet's favorite villain, turned himself into one of boxing's most profitable attractions. Whether you love him or hate him, you watch him. That's the point. He doesn't chase belts. He chases attention, and attention brings money. Every fight he promotes pulls millions of views, every press conference becomes a meme, and every punch he lands fuels the next headline. He's mastered the art of blending business and boxing, but that same formula that made him famous also made him a target. Real fighters see Jake as the symbol of everything wrong with modern boxing. The idea that fame matters more than skill. And no one embodies that frustration more than Gervonta Davis. Tank Davis isn't a YouTube boxer. He's a prodigy, a fighter with knockout power that breaks bones and spirits. Trained under the Mayweather banner, Tank has built a reputation for ending fights brutally and quickly. He's not just one of the most explosive lightweights of his generation. He's also one of the sport's biggest draws. His fights sell out arenas because fans know they might witness someone get absolutely destroyed. So why would a fighter like that step into the ring with Jake Paul? Money maybe, but some believe it's about pride. Tank has said repeatedly that influencer boxing disrespects real fighters. And this match, sanctioned or not, gives him a chance to remind the world what separates a real boxer from an entertainer. Chael Sonnen, one of the most outspoken analysts in combat sports, summed it up perfectly. He said Tank's mission isn't just to win, it's to defend boxing's honor. He compared this moment to when Conor McGregor faced Floyd Mayweather. That fight had hype, ego, and money, but deep down it was about something bigger, legitimacy. Sonnen believes Davis has the same responsibility now, to show that years of discipline and skill will always outshine viral fame. And that brings us to one of the biggest debates in sports right now: what's real boxing anymore? In today's era, people scroll more than they watch. They want highlights, drama, and instant gratification. Promoters noticed that. They stopped selling fights. They started selling moments. It's why we see YouTubers, TikTokers, and retired MMA fighters all stepping into boxing rings. These fights trend faster, sell better, and create easier storylines. But for purists, it's a nightmare. They see legends training their whole lives for a title, only to get overshadowed by influencers turning combat into content. That's why this Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight feels symbolic. On one side, you've got the business of entertainment. On the other, the art of boxing. And the size gap just adds gasoline to the fire. Jake Paul's body is built like a tank, no pun intended. He's strong, conditioned, and used to throwing heavy shots. But Davis? He's built for speed, precision, and timing. Against men his own size, Tank looks unstoppable. Against someone nearly 60 pounds heavier, the challenge changes completely. He can still hit hard, but will his punches even stun Jake? That's the big question. Critics argue the matchup is unfair to both. Jake's too big to make it competitive, and Tank's too skilled for it to be safe. It's the perfect recipe for controversy, which ironically makes it perfect for promotion. And let's be honest, controversy is the currency of modern boxing. When Jake Paul teased fighting Anthony Joshua earlier this year, people laughed, but they still clicked. Every tweet, every clip, every rumor keeps his name alive. That's the game. He's not chasing belts, he's chasing headlines. As long as people keep talking, Jake keeps winning, even before the bell rings. Still, not everyone's buying it. Many boxing insiders blasted both fighters for even considering this matchup. They argue that Davis should be defending his titles, not lending credibility to influencer boxing. They say he's wasting time and tarnishing his legacy. Some even claim he's cashing out, focusing more on money than the sport itself. One viral rant even said, Jake Paul isn't the problem with boxing. Tank Davis is. The logic? Jake's an entertainer doing exactly what he's supposed to. But Davis, a legitimate star, should know better. Instead of fighting contenders like Shocker Stevenson or Devin Haney, he's chasing a payday. And that, to purists, feels like betrayal. But maybe there's more to it than that. Because no matter what side you're on, this fight reflects where boxing is headed, a mix of skill, fame, and storytelling. Promoters understand that fans want chaos, not rankings. They want the unexpected. And this matchup delivers exactly that. A power-punching YouTuber versus a knockout machine half his size, trained by the greatest boxer of the modern era. That's box office gold. Behind closed doors, even the athletic commissions couldn't ignore the risk. Sources revealed that when organizers first pitched the fight, regulators immediately flagged the weight gap. Some said the fighters would need an extreme clause to make it even remotely acceptable. But rather than cancel the idea, promoters just rebranded it, call it an exhibition, lower the stakes, raise the price. It's the perfect workaround. Fans might not get a sanctioned fight, but they'll get the spectacle they crave. And for Netflix, it's the kind of event that turns casual viewers into subscribers. Streaming giants understand what fight fans sometimes forget. People love drama more than discipline. That's why, despite all the backlash, this event keeps gaining momentum. Even as commissions pull back, venues step up. State Farm Arena in Atlanta, home of the Hawks, was initially listed as the host. Then came confusion when officials denied any active permit. But tickets remained online, the dates stayed live, and fans kept buying. The contradiction only fueled curiosity. Meanwhile, training camps tell a different story. Jake Paul has been pushing his narrative hard, posting workouts, showing off size, confidence, and discipline. He keeps saying he's ready for anything. But when asked about facing Tank's speed, he deflects, saying things like, it's about mindset. That's usually code for, I know this is dangerous. On the other side, Gervonta's camp has gone quiet. No showboating, no clips, just silence, the kind that feels like preparation. Mayweather's influence is obvious. Floyd's all about patience, defense, and timing. He's turning Tank into a smarter version of himself. And if Jake walks in throwing wild haymakers, Mayweather knows exactly how to make him miss, gas out, and crumble. But here's the real twist. Some believe this fight might never actually happen in the ring. The controversy itself might be the point. Every headline, every rumor, every breakdown generates revenue. Both fighters profit from the attention long before a single punch is thrown. Whether it ends up as an official exhibition or a canceled circus, they both win financially. Still, fans can't help but hope it goes down. Because love it or hate it, it's fascinating. A man who started on Disney Channel now standing across from one of the most feared punchers in the world, coached by Mayweather. That's a cinematic setup no Hollywood writer could invent. And yet, beneath all the entertainment, there's something deeper happening here. This fight, or maybe the idea of it, exposes the identity crisis inside boxing. The sport once thrived on merit and titles. Now, it survives on clicks and controversy. Fighters like Davis keep the old tradition alive, while figures like Jake Paul redefine what boxing even means. One side fights for legacy, the other for limelight. And somewhere in between, fans decide what matters most. Danny Garcia, a veteran boxer himself, explained it best. Fans are drawn to the unusual. They don't necessarily care about titles anymore. They care about moments. People want to see what happens when worlds collide, when a smaller, faster fighter faces a bigger, stronger one. It's the same curiosity that made David versus Goliath one of the oldest stories in history. And that's exactly what Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis represents. Maybe it's a mismatch. Maybe it's a masterpiece. Either way, it's impossible to ignore. Even if purists hate it, even if commissions block it, even if fans call it a circus, they'll still watch. Because at the end of the day, controversy sells, and both Jake Paul and Tank Davis know that better than anyone. They've learned that in modern boxing, the fight doesn't just happen in the ring. It happens online, in headlines, in algorithms. So whether this matchup becomes a historic event or fades as another viral tease, one thing's certain, it's changed the conversation around what boxing even is. Because this isn't just about who hits harder. It's about what kind of fight the audience actually wants. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most dangerous fight of all. Until next time, stay tuned, because in this sport, the real punches often land long before the bell rings.